Hello and welcome to UFO News. We have a couple of cool articles to cover today. And if you like UFO news, updates, case studies, interviews, and anything really pertaining to UFOs, this is the channel for you. So make sure to subscribe so that you do not miss anything. Let's start off with Denmark. Danish police and the FBI are investigating multiple sightings of unidentified flying objects, with at least 20 spotted over Q in Denmark, which is right next to Copenhagen, back on January 3rd. And these objects, as the narrative is right now, unknown drones, mysterious drones, that's just the conditioning, were reported by witnesses who described them as unlike anything they have seen before. How many times have we heard this? Too many times to count. We know, for the most part, we know what drones look like. We know what satellites look like. And we're getting this. It's no longer a United States narrative. This is becoming a universal narrative of that, hey, anything that you see in the sky, it must be a drone. That should be your first conclusion. When, if you keep listening to this article, it's not following in that drone category, because no drone flight permits were issued in that area, prompting, and this is the crazy part, prompting involvement from Denmark's Domestic Intelligence Service, also known as PET or PET. And we've seen this exact same thing happening in the US, where right before the Pentagon gave us the answer back on December 17th of like, hey guys, it's actually US military, when for weeks prior they said nothing about it. Denmark is kind of following that same protocol of showing interest, getting their type of FBI involved, and then people being scared, them doing investigations, and then maybe we might receive an answer several weeks down the line. But it's remarkable that we are seeing these things happen not only in New Jersey, but across the US, in the UK, over military installations, RAFs, in Germany. Now we're seeing it in Denmark as well. It's this constant thing going on. We can't brush this away, even though we are now finally in 2025. This story isn't going to die. Not anytime soon, especially if we get more reports like this. And I actually came across this particular article, which that link will be in the description box below, on my website, ufonews.co, which is a UFO news aggregate website. So anytime UFO or UAP is mentioned in the news, it will pop up automatically on my site, ufonews.co. So I highly recommend that you bookmark it so it keeps you and me up to date as to what's going on internationally, not just in the United States. Now, the article mentions here that, well, this is during a very heightened, there's a lot of tension going on near the Baltic region because of wars taking place, the more infamous Russian-Ukrainian war. And so people are like, they must be missiles, they must be some kind of like military drones, which I can understand that. I can. But these witnesses that are seeing these things in Denmark, they're like, it doesn't look like any of those things mentioned, especially when we are hearing this level of not being able to protect their airspace. Now, something that needs to be addressed when looking at this is that UFOs have been seen over war zones since the beginning of recorded history that we know of. It goes all the way to the Romans. We can look at Alexander the Great as well. But some more recent and maybe some more well-known ones is, of course, the Foo Fighters during World War II. And they were first reported back in 1941, where British pilots began to report seeing these anomalous aerial objects either chasing or flying alongside the pilots and their aircraft. This is very dangerous, and we're still seeing that today in 2024/2025. But on top of that is that when this was taking place back in the 1940s, there were research teams that went out and said, okay, what's going on? Because they were getting so many reports from pilots seeing weird things in the sky. And their overall explanation was it's just mass hysteria, it's shell shock, and there's nothing to see here. But we can't apply that same answer to present day where pilots are still seeing these things in the sky. And then also there's another case that took place in Vietnam during the Vietnam War back in the 1970s where people were seeing UFOs and USOs, unidentified submerged objects, by these military personnel, and there was no confirmation as to what they were. And I'm bringing this up because history is constantly repeating itself. We always need to look at the patterns. And with this war that is currently taking place in very specific parts of Europe, it's not necessarily a surprise that they are also seeing strange things in the sky. Now, is it man-made? Some of them might be. Is it a UFO? Some of them might be, merely based off of the history that we have in our hands currently, all of the written reports. Now, let's bring this on over. Let's fish this back to the US because there was a pretty intriguing UFO sighting that was documented over Fort Campbell, which is, of course it is, a military installation. And this is drawing significant attention due to the alleged credibility of the primary witness, because these pictures that I am showing you right here, they were posted on Reddit. And I know Reddit is its own can of worms. I know it is, but we still got to address this particular case. Because, I know it was also posted anonymously, which is not helpful. But we have to look at these patterns again of people seeing UFOs over military installations. It's not just happening in New Jersey, but all over the US. And in these images, the witness captured a bright orange light hovering mysteriously over this military base. And what makes the sighting particularly compelling is the background, the alleged background, of one of the main observers, which is a veteran with nearly 30 years of Army experience and extensive knowledge of aircraft. Now, despite this extensive military background and being familiar with conventional aircraft, this anonymous witness was unable to explain what he was seeing, stating that it was unlike anything he had encountered before. We've also heard this 1,000 times, and we're seeing it yet again. I mean, it sucks that it's anonymous. It sucks that it was posted on Reddit, which people are very iffy about, and I get it. But if it's UFO news, if it's online, we're gonna cover it. And these images, while they do look like orbs and mere blobs in the sky, having that background information is helpful here. Also, the circumstances of the sighting was carefully documented by this witness, who provided detailed context about the event, which is what we always need. And it was observed just right after midnight during the New Year's celebration, when the witness's father was outside watching the fireworks. And the object caught his attention as it displayed unusual characteristics while moving from the northwest, where both Fort Campbell and the local airport are located. Let's back this up. Back it up. You might say, come on, Cristina, fireworks here. Not necessarily. If these are moving in a very strange way with weird maneuvers, it's kind of harder to say it's fireworks. We've all seen them. We all know what they look like. We all know how they work. But it's kind of funny. It's a little funny, actually, that we are hearing this sighting take place right in between a military installation and an airport. Both of these locations across the world are notorious for UFO sightings. We have covered in a whole show, by the way, it's called UFOs over airports. And the amount of reported sightings that there have been are unbelievable. Now, you might think of the recent case, LaGuardia Airport in New York. Okay, that's a great one. Or the O'Hare incident back in the early 2000s. Great. They've also taken place in Ireland, in China, in the 2000s as well. And The question is, why are UFOs being seen over military installations and over airports? What's going on? Now, in this case, for this particular report, this UFO was seen right in between that little like sweet spot in between a military base and an airport. What's going on? 2025 is panning itself out rather nicely. And this was a great way, I guess, for this person to have a nice, beautiful view of fireworks and then seeing UFOs. But there's already rumors going on, and I'm really emphasizing the word rumors here, that 2025 is going to be an interesting year for UFO news and updates and disclosure. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case, just because we've heard that 1,000 times every single year. We hear UFO researchers and enthusiasts say, guys, this is the year. I was just tipped off. This is the year we're getting more UFO news and information. And every single year, we're disappointed. These are alleged claims. Now, of course, I want to be optimistic. I'm enthusiastic. I want 2025 to be the year. But I have no expectations for it, just because we've been let down every single year when people mention this, right? But I'm keeping my eye out on the news. I'm keeping you up to date. But also, UFOnews.co will keep you up to date as well, so bookmark that website. It's totally free, ad-free, free access, free everything. It's awesome. Take a look at it. Now, adding to the broader context of this sighting that was reported online, similar aerial phenomena have been reported in other parts of the US during that same time frame. Another Reddit user reported a comparable sighting in Queens, New York, just days earlier on December 27th. And their observation involved 4 strange orbs in formation in what is supposed to be a no-fly zone, suggesting a possible pattern of similar unexplained aerial activities. In this case, the timing and the similarities between these two sightings, particularly their occurrence in or near restricted airspace, have of course sparked this additional level of interest in these observations. I'm excited to see how this story in particular is going to unfold, if we're going to receive any further information, but also, again, just based off of this alone, 2025 is seeming kind of promising. Kind of exciting, really. If you enjoyed this quick update, hit that like button right down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, as I do several shows right here every single week and short videos as well, keeping all of us up to date as to what's going on in the UFO world. That is it for today. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoy the strange and the mysterious, UFOs, the paranormal, and cryptids, this channel is for you. So make sure to subscribe, as I do 3 videos right here every single week, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of the bonus content I post right here.